Hi everyone, today I just want to talk to you about how I started in paramotor. So this is something that I wasn't planning to do really. I had never thought about paramotor. I seen, in beaches and when we go on holidays, I see people flying, but never actually thought about, doing this as a sport, right? So what happened was that we were over in Colombia on holidays, myself and my wife, and we were exploring things to do, and we end up in this town called Jardín, which is in the department of Antioquia. A beautiful place, amazing place, really. Scenery fantastic. I think I could not find a better place to start my journey into, well, paragliding, paramotor as it is. So we got there, and my wife, she's Colombian, and she said, Marcelo, what do you want to do really? I mean, there's so many different activities around here, from sports to, horse riding, things like that. And she knows that I love extreme sports, and she said, in terms of, sports, we have abseiling, we have rafting around here. There's so many different things that you can do. And then she said, one thing that I always wanted to do was paragliding, and there are a lot of paragliding schools around here, and they take people on tour, on tandem. Would you like to do that? And I said, absolutely, let's go. And that's how everything started, really. So the next part of it was just really call up a few shops and ask them if they had opening for these days that we were there. We're not there for a long time. And we found this one very close to where we were, and they did have opening for that particular day, and we decided to go. Professional guys, really. No hesitation. We did check them up on Google and look at the reviews and look at different places for reviews. So yeah, so we were there waiting for our turn to go up to the hill, and we went by jeep. I'm gonna put a video here, a photo. So we got there. The weather was a bit sketchy to start with. So in the beginning we thought, okay, maybe we won't be able to fly. The weather's changing, but luckily there was an opening, and the weather just, it was perfect, really. Perfect. And what we decided to do is just fly together. I think for the experience, I think was pretty amazing. So she had one instructor, I had another instructor, but the experience were different. So what happened, my instructor, I don't know how, and I can't explain this very well, but I think he got a thermal, and that shot us up in the air. So I went really high. We went really high, and then we went like in a spiral way, and we were like circling around pretty much like an area, I don't know, I think was about like 300 meters in diameter. Just circling around, but was really good. I loved it. He was, ascending, descending, really nice. So I got to see like a lot of the mountains around and surrounding landscape. But my wife, what happened, she took, I don't know, maybe like a different thermal, or the instructor decided to do a different route. But she went really far. And she got to see, the different town, villages, and they flew over some fincas. Like fincas are like little plots of lands, and people like crops and stuff. So it was pretty cool. Loved it, absolutely loved it. So flying, amazing, perfect landing, not a problem. Once I landed, I said, I want to do this. Absolutely 100% that I want to do this. Obviously living in England at that time, went back to England and started looking for paragliding courses. What happened in England, it's a pretty flat country as it is, pretty flat. People do fly there and do paragliding, really. But there's not many hills, so the opportunities are somewhat limited. So that kind of put me off a little bit, to be frank. And I was like, okay, so I don't want to be flying abroad, to do the sport. It's not feasible really to do that. as I said, I mean, they do fly there, and there are ways to bring people up in the air, like, you know, by towing, like winching and things like that. But I want, you know, to experience the whole emotion of like going up on a hill and you know, launching myself from there. And so yeah, so very quickly I realized that that wouldn't be really possible for me. Okay, so I started looking at options. So I did a little bit of research and came across Paramotor, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool because I will have the same sort of experience, very similar in any way to paragliding, but you know, I'll be able to literally, inverted commas, and I'll talk about this in another video anyway, to take off from anywhere I wanted. Okay, that's a big inverted commas, but you know, I will talk more about that in another video. So I was like, okay, fine, let's go with it. Start looking for a couple of schools in the area where I lived. I lived in London, so obviously in London possible, so I had to go a bit further away to fly to do the course. And yeah, so that's how everything started really. So I found the school, signed up for the course very quickly, and that's it. That's how I started. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some footage now about Hardin, and where I was, and where I did the paragliding, the tandem paragliding, and so you enjoy it, the scenery, and I'll show some footage of myself actually flying tandem at the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching.